How do you choose your football boots? If you have no idea and want to play it safe, then you are at the right place. Stay tuned with this video as we'll get some exciting tips and we'll cover all what you need to know about football boots before choosing one. Coming up. Hey guys, this channel brings you all kinds of technical, tactical, mental, physical and nutritional aspect of the game and also gives you tips and tools for improving as a player. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing and click the bell icon near the subscribe button to stay updated with all my videos. Coming right away to the title of the video, let's have a look at this boot. It's an Indian brand called Sega. Okay. The boot we buy comes in different color, shape, texture, insole and different parts that varies with brand and boots. This video provides you with all type of classification that depends on factors like texture, shape and size and also outsole or what we call as stud. Watch it till the end of the video as I'll be giving new tips and interesting facts about boots that I hope which is new, completely new to you all and also help you in choosing the right boot for you. First of all, let me bring you all to the anatomy of boot. The boot that we wear has mainly three parts. The first one is the upper part or we call it as texture, and then comes the outer part. Technically it's known as outsole or what we call as stud, and the third part is the inside part of the boot that is known as sole. As I said, upper is the outer portion of the boot above the insole. This part is that catches our attention at first sight. It also provides the aesthetic sense of the boot that comes in different colors that varies from brand to brand and boot to boot. This part is also called as texture, and the material of the texture also varies from boot to boot and brand to brand. Then comes the second part that is called the outsole or called as stud. This is one of the most important part of the boot as this part alone has a certain amount of classification that varies with brand and also the pitch that it is used in. This is the most important part as this provides the accurate amount of traction or grip to stay firm towards the ground, which helps you stabilize your game. The classification based on the outsole will be covered at last of this video, so stay tuned with the video for more information and exciting tips. The third part is known as insole or just sole. This is also an important part which covers the comfort area of the boot, that it provides a sufficient cushioning to our legs to stay comfort and firm to the boot surface. As you might know, this might vary with the size of the boot and sometimes it also varies with the type of boot. Okay, now I'll take you through the classification based on positions. This classification are actually built from factors of the boots like the texture, shape and size, etc. When you hear about this type of classification, you might think that what the heck, is it really possible? And why should there be such a classification? Yeah, I'm coming right to it. These classifications are built from the main brands or world-class brands like Nike, Adidas, Puma and Umbro, etc. I must say that this type of classification may not be authentic because the taste and comfortness considerably vary for different players. And you might know that some football boots are narrow and some are wide that suit for different type of players which has a wide or narrow foot. So there is no point in classifying boots for certain positions as the players that plays in different positions may have wide or narrow foot, and hence this isn't always easy as it sounds to find a perfect boot for your position. But there is always another side. If you are a starter or you have just started to play football or you just started to play, using boots, this classification might be a good choice for you. For example, if you are a striker, you could choose a boot that built for a striker to have a good contact with the ball, or you have a good shot or good finish. At the end of the day, it's not your boot, it's your feet that should do the job, and it's all about fit, comfort, and the pitch that you'll play upon, and not a boot or a brand. Now we can just get into the classification for different positions. First, we'll cover the class of strikers. For strikers, to run deep, to challenge defenders, and to score goals with their fast footwork, the boots need to stick to their feet like skin. And for strikers, the brands usually recommend lightweight boots so that they could do the fast feet work as fast as they can and perform better. Some of the examples of boots for strikers include Puma Evo Speed, Adidas X15, and also Nike Mercurial Vapors. For goalkeepers, the most important factor that they need is the accurate amount of traction or grip that helps them to stay firm to the ground to kick the ball longer and wider. So these boots for goalkeepers usually have a hard outsole or hard stud that makes the boot penetrate into the ground and stay firm towards the ground. Some examples of boots for goalkeepers include Puma Evo Power, Nike Magista Obra, and Adidas A16. For midfielders, they should be fast in decision making and should have a good first touch. So they are preferred to have boots with greater width to their instep so that they could give a good contact of the ball to provide spectacular passes steering the defense. The boots that big brands recommend for midfielders usually has a good texture so that they have a good contact and good touch towards the ball. Some of the examples of boots for midfielders include Adidas H16.1, Nike Magista Opus, and Puma Evo Power. Usually wingers are speedy and technically gifted players, hence they are recommended with boots which has great traction and very light ball touch with thinner texture. Some of the examples of boots for midfielders include Nike Mercurial Superflies and Mercurial Vapors, or even this boot. This is Nike Hypervenom, which is a great boot for wingers. For defenders, preferably center backs, they are usually creative head to give a great pass towards midfield or to play out to the wings, hence need a boot with good touch and control. They should also win area balls, whether to clear out with a header or to score goals with it during a set piece. That's the end of the classification based on position. Consider you are a striker and you used to wear Nike Mercurial Vapors strictly because you are used to it while playing. But one fine morning, if you are forced to play a center attacking mid, and would you change your boot towards Nike Magista Obra just from the reason being pushed by the brand? No, I don't think so. I must tell you that this recommendation of boots by position built by great brands are pretty good, because all the boots that big brands produces are almost good. But you should not approach this type of classification of boots with a blind eye or a closed mind. If you are pretty good with a particular type of boot, then go for it and don't take the recommendation of these brands that are built for just to steer customers to their other type of boots. Okay, next classification we're gonna see is one of the most important classification of all. It is based on the outsole or start. After getting to know about this classification and all those informations, you might be able to select your own boots depending on the type of pitch that you are likely to play on. As you may know, there are different types of pitches around us. The first one is natural or real grass grounds, then artificial grass grounds, soft grass grounds, hard grounds, and some area there may have turf fields and futsal or indoor court which might be made of concrete or wooden floors. Now I'll give you a detailed overview about all those grounds and the type of boot that should be used in these type of grounds and the reason why should you take it serious. At first, let me give you a scientific explanation behind this. Here I have my hypovenom, and when you consider a flat surface like this, I'll just keep this boot on this flat surface, and the scientific explanation to this, the scientific explanation that states the reason why you should use boots that are suitable for certain types of grounds is that when you stamp on this ground, you are giving a force which is created by your body weight towards the ground. So if the ground is not as soft as natural grass or like soft grounds or muddy grounds, what the ground does is the ground also gives a reaction force towards your legs, and that reaction force could damage your knees and all of your joints up until your head. So that's the reason why you should wear different types of boots for different areas of grounds or grass. The classification of boots based on the pitches that I've earlier mentioned is mainly classified into 4 types: FG, AG, SG and HG. Apart from these 4 classifications, there are also some other classification of boots based on the pitches, and I'll just mention it after these main 4 types of classification. Stay tuned for that. Okay, the first one on the list is FG boots or firm ground boots. This is the type of boots that is most common among professionals and also amateur players. Firm ground means natural or real grass which is not muddy or slippery. From the word firm ground, it is very clear that it is neither soft nor hard, it is firm. At first, firm ground boots were not allowed to play on artificial ground as it may cause very serious injuries to your joints and legs. But nowadays you can see that firm ground boots are most common among professionals, which is due to the introduction of field turfs. Field turfs are a type of artificial grass which better replicated natural grass. Now field turfs are most common in many stadiums across the world, and hence firm ground boots can be used in this grass surface. The firm ground boots usually have an ultra light plastic outsoles or stud which is in a length that is allowed to penetrate into the ground so that they provide as much as traction of grip, and also it provides as much as stability as possible. The stud pattern of FG boots looks like this. The number 2 on the list is AG boots or artificial grass boots. AG boots are specially designed for artificial grass grounds. Back in 1965, a new type of artificial grass was introduced which came to known as AstroTurf. AstroTurf was tougher and rock hard as compared to field turfs which were introduced in late 2000. The AG stud patterns look like this. Playing an AstroTurf with FG boots was a terrible idea as it can affect your knees, joints, ankles, etc. and hence AG boots were introduced. And this AG boots has more number of studs than FG boots with a small hole inside to give that perfect grip or traction towards the AG grass grounds. AG boots does not produce as much as grip as FG boots, hence it can avoid knee problems or other problems that might occur when wearing FG boots on artificial grass grounds. Nowadays, manufacturers also produces hybrid FG or AG boots that can be both be used in natural grass or firm ground as well as on artificial grass grounds. So if you are a player who plays in artificial grass and firm ground, this boot seems to be a perfect option for you. The first ever hybrid boot was introduced by Adidas, and it's Adidas Ace 15.1, which is an excellent boot for players who play both in firm ground and artificial grass grounds. The stud pattern look like this. As you can see from the stud pattern, it has both type of studs for FG and AG, which has a small hole inside. So that gives you a perfect traction both in firm ground as well as in artificial ground boots, and hence avoid all the joint problems in using FG boots on AG and AG boots on FG grounds. Number 3 on the list is SG boots or soft ground boots. Soft ground literally means natural grass which is muddy or slippery. SG boots are specially designed for such grounds where there is soft and wet grasses. The stud pattern of SG boots look like this. SG boots comes with a long screw-in metal studs to improve traction or grip on such grounds. Some of the SG boots has both metal screw-in studs as well as plastic blades. Some just have those screw-in studs. This metal screw-in studs usually vary in length and can be detachable or removable using spanner and can be fit into a new one depending on the type or the amount of grip that you need. These SG boots are highly recommended on soft grounds with metal studs are designed to penetrate towards the ground, and these boots are not recommended towards artificial grounds as there is no need of penetration and hence harm your knees or joints. Number 4 in the list is HG boots or hard ground boots. Hard ground means a rock solid hard type ground with no grass or has a low profile grass. HG boots normally should contain more number of studs than FG and lesser number of studs than AG, whereas the length of studs of HG boots should be much smaller than FG boots. You should understand that hard ground gives more reactive pressure towards a stud than any other ground that I have explained so far. Though I have explained all common types of boot categories, there are 2 more categories which are not usually found in India and is unfamiliar to Indians. They are TF boots and IC boots. TF boots, or called turf field boots, are made exclusively for turf fields. Okay, now you may have a doubt in your mind that what is the difference between artificial grass and turf fields? The main difference of AG and turf fields are AG resembles natural grass in the best possible way, whereas turf fields are mostly made of stones and gravels. Turf fields are more rougher and harder as compared to artificial grass, hence turf field boots are designed in such a way that it provides a lot of cushioning compared to AG for such hard surfaces. The studs of TF boots is like this. As you can see, it has a rubber made sole with short studs, and the number of studs in TF boots are much higher than any other category of boots that we have mentioned earlier. These TF boots can also be used as a backup for hard surfaces, as these TF boots are mostly recommended in India as hard ground boots. Okay, now we will discuss about IC or indoor court boots. Indoor court boots are those boots that are specially designed to play on indoor court surfaces with concrete or wooden floor. This comes with a flat outsole with no studs to make a perfect and efficient contact that provides required amount of grip at the same time. Don't you see some similarity between TF and IC boots? Yes. These two boots has a lower length studs or almost no studs. This is made to increase the large amount of surface area which is in contact with the floor. As you know, indoor court or turf fields have more harder surfaces than any other type of grass grounds that we have discussed earlier. So when we increase the surface area that in contact with the floor, what happens is that the reaction force given by the floor, it's distributed to a larger surface area, hence reducing injuries. That's the end of the classification of boots based on the style of pitch that they are used. I hope it is all clear to you, and I highly recommend you to follow this type of boots when you play on that particular surfaces. Next, we're gonna walk through some of the Indian brands and the type of boots they have. In this section, I'll also discuss what are the misconceptions that most of us have in wearing those Indian brands in certain grounds. At first, we're gonna move through NIVIA. Everybody knows NIVIA as it is an official sponsor of Indian Super League, which is the first division in our country. Hence, I must say that NIVIA is one of the top brands in India as well. They have all kinds of boots except AG, where they recommend TF boot as an AG boot.
All the boots of NIVIA are pretty good. The boots like Destroyer, Invader, Crane, Ashtang, Ditma 1 and so on are firm ground boots. Dominator is the only SG boots they have. They are stitchless single mode boots which are lightweight. The HD category of boots that this brand recommend include Ultra 1, Encounter and Pro Encounter and even Premier Carbonate. These seems to be the boots ideal for hard ground without grass, which is actually the pictures we have here. The next category of boots they have is TF and IC boots. Aviator is the model ideal for turf field, but the IC boots stay tough seems to have studs exactly like TF boots that we see usually in big brands like Nike or Adidas. But since the brand recommends this as IC boots, it is okay to lend your ears to the brand. These information that I have given are vital because I could see most of the players wear Dominators or Destroyers on the hard grounds that we have here. This may seem to be okay now, but when you see down the line, this could be a serious problem for your joints and muscles. And you know what? This is a matter of durability as well. If you use these boots considering the instruction of the brand, you could use it for 8 to 10 months straight and not throwing it away after 3 months and considering a new boot. Using TF boots on hard grounds can also be effective in terms of durability. Then we'll move on to the brand called Sega or Star Impact. This is probably the most used one in the state. I really don't know whether it is the same for the entire country. Players just look for low cost and comfort, hence end up in Sega. But I must tell you that though they give us comfort, they are like a mysterious Indian brand. It can be clear that when you see through the entire boot gallery, there is no much information about it is displayed. Nobody knows which type of boot those are, but we choose them just because they are cheap and comfy. Don't you think it's foolish to think that way? From all this information I have given, it is clear that no boot can be used equally in every surfaces. From the stud pattern they have, I think most of the boots they produce are firm ground boots and can be effectively used on natural or real grass except the boot called Presto, which they recommend it for hard surfaces. The type of boot called Winner seems to be an SG boot, but don't take my word for that. Do your research and find the best boot for you. Sorry to all Sega users, but I have to say this for your safety. Even I was a Sega user before doing this research. Next, we move on to the franchise called Decathlon. It is a French sporting good dealer spread across the world in 49 countries. They have an excellent collection of boots that comes in all categories. They also have two main categories separating players under different levels, which is beginner and intermediate level. In beginner section, they have FG and HG boots, and intermediate comes with FG, HG and MG boots. They also have a separate section for futsal shoes, which you know that are IC boots. First, we move on to beginner section. This is Agility 100 FG. This is an excellent boot recommended for mud grounds or artificial or natural grass grounds. But these are mostly used by players on HG grounds, which affect their durability. This is Agility 100 HG, which is the boot that they recommend for hard ground. It seems to be like TF boot studs. Both these are cheapest ones in their brand. This is Agility 300 FG. This is more improved when compared to Agility 100 model and is suitable for mud grounds, artificial and firm grounds and not on hard grounds. Agility 300 HG is same as Agility 100 HG, which is improved quality and durability than Agility 100 HG. These boots are suitable for hard grounds. Agility 300 and 100 HG are the best boots in the beginner section for gravel grounds we have here. Then comes the intermediate section. This is Agility 500 FG, which is preferred only in firm grounds. Agility 500 HG is recommended only for hard grounds in the intermediate level. Then we come to Agility 500 MG. MG means mixed boot, which is same as hybrid FG or HG boots that we have covered in the earlier section from big brands like Nike or Adidas. These are recommended to play on both firm and artificial grounds, keeping it safe and durable. This has both type of studs, FG and AG boots. Overall, Decathlon products seems to be the best products to use here, as they have separate sections for each boot and have expert professionals to guide you through it. NIVIA is also a good brand that we can use here in India. The only thing is that you have to choose the right boot for the right surface you play. Hope you guys like the video. See you on the next video.